La 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 la
Dunka 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 Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmark After Show 2020 podcast.
Hi, how's everyone doing?
Oh my gosh, still drunk on joy, dear. Still
Drunk
just
on
drunk
joy.
on joy. Yes.
Wow.
I am your host, Will Carey. Joining me is my wife and co-host, because you're my wife first, co-host second, Chelsea Connor. Hello.
Hello.
How is it going with you?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm just living, in the moment.
I just want to pause for a minute, folks, and say that these Hallmark movies really are bringing our household joy, and the fact that they happen every weekend, and we, settle in to watch them with cozy blankets and tea. It's just lovely.
Exactly.
And I hope all of you are enjoying them as we are.
Oh yeah, because it's important to have activities every week. It's especially in the pandemic times.
A schedule.
You want to have mile markers, you want to look forward to Bagel Thursday or Bagel Wednesday, or you want to look forward to, I'm also looking forward to the new episodes of The Mandalorian every Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's nice that there's some regular new TV weekly like This Is Us and Amazing Race and other shows, because I think I was really worried that there would be no regularity to my week. But also I do struggle with the days of the week still. So
yeah, well, so knowing what days the shows in these movies come out helps kind of
every Saturday and Sunday 8:00 on Hallmark Channel is your premieres. Super easy to remember, folks.
Yes, indeed, that's when the premieres are, and we have our sixth premiere of the season, which is
lucky number 6.
Lucky number 6. We have Christmas with the Darlings.
It was darling.
Yeah, classic setup. Christmas with the insert who whatever family name. This is stars Katrina Law, which is an awesome name. She's she plays Jessica. She's our lead female protagonist. She's on the TV show Arrow, which is a comic book character, and then our main male protagonist, Max, played by Carlo Marx. He was on Smallville.
Ooh, that's a throwback.
Yeah, back in the day, which I feel like I'm going to start thinking about that show differently after watching The Vow, because another actress from Smallville plays in very heavily into the documentary The Vow on HBO Max.
So maybe we'll do a podcast about Smallville.
Well, I would have to watch it first, but
Me too.
But a very famous another person from Smallville is the most famous Towson Theater alum, John Glover.
For folks who don't know, Will went to Towson.
I sure did, studied theater as well, but they didn't teach us Hallmark movie acting. I feel like there's a style.
Did they also not teach you to join sex cults? I'm just curious.
Well, they let you know that certain
cults are bad.
They told you about pay for plays with paying for meetings with agents was probably not going to help you and stuff like that. But so Christmas with the Darlings. So this is our first.
It was darling. Sorry, I feel a need to keep saying that over and over. I also feel like my mic is really quiet. Can you guys hear me out there in listener land?
I mean, you sound good.
Can you hear me?
I mean, I had to turn you down a little bit during the
Sorry, I was
beginning
singing the lot
because you were peaking. But but our first movie set in Connecticut.
Connecticut, as the Canadians say, or the Francophone Canadians. Shout out to our Francophone Canadian friends, of which there are many. Startling number.
There are quite a few. Which, interestingly enough, not a state that you see a ton of movies located in.
But our very famous and amazing Gilmore Girls is centered in Connecticut.
It is. It's centered in Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Well, I always view Connecticut as the sleepy suburb of New York City.
Kind of. I mean, it has some industry. It also is home to Yale University. Allegedly, they have good pizza in New Haven, but remains to be seen, folks.
I have heard. Well, in Greenwich, it's headquartered in Greenwich, Connecticut.
No.
The WWE, the pro wrestling.
I think. I want to say that other big pharma is in Connecticut too. Maybe.
Sounds about right. I feel like the taxes.
Maybe Xerox.
I feel like the tax situation is favorable in Connecticut compared to New York, so lots of companies move there if they don't want to
Right.
move to New Jersey.
I also just think you can get like more house. So it's a commuter state. But anyway, we're gonna
It,
accept that.
it certainly is. Well,
And
it is a beautiful state, and you do see a lot of uh, you do see a lot of the appeal of Connecticut based
yeah,
on
fall leaves. It's very cute.
yeah, and again,
Quaint.
and if you remember, if you heard the episode 5 about don't kiss a man wearing a Christmas sweater, skiing also another factor in this in this movie as well. So
Yes. So our premise, or do you want to read it? Because I know you like to read the
well,
premise.
I will read the synopsis.
Synopsis.
The
Sorry.
synopsis as follows states that a woman helping a charming man look after his orphan nieces and nephew during the holidays. So there's a lot. This is, I think, actually a fairly like interesting, like multi-layered story for the Hallmark movies.
It's kind of a series of unfortunate events meets Hallmark. I was thinking about it. There's orphan children.
There are orphan children.
So just the quick rundown, because the plot here is not super important. We want to talk about lots of other things in this show, but
Yeah, we start with like a rich
high-powered,
family
yeah,
business, like
rich
multi-generational
family
business.
It's a corporate law firm in part, and the CEO of the company's nieces and nephew are orphaned in Australia, and the woman who was taking care of them, which I think is another aunt or someone, cousin, has fallen ill, and the children need to be resume custody from him and his sibling.
Yeah.
And so he plans, being sort of like a wealthy man to do of Connecticut with no children himself, is like, great, they'll come here and then they'll start at this boarding school and then I won't really have to deal with them.
Yeah, which I've always thought which I immediately thought was like, oh, you're sending. They've been in Australia for 3 years. Their parents are dead, and you're going to ship them off to boarding school because you don't want to deal with it. Didn't like it.
I don't
Didn't
think
like
that
it.
it's. I think it's less that he doesn't want to deal with it, more that he's like a super practicable guy and practical guy. That was what I meant, and I was just gonna glaze through that. But anyway, he's a super practical guy, and so he's like, oh, children, school, great. I travel. I'm a businessman, and I don't think it was made out of malice, I guess is what I'm saying. I think he just is practical, and he was like, this is a thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, Connecticut's also where they make all the boarding schools.
Yes, his executive assistant,
Played Jessica by Katrina Law,
who's passed the bar exam and intends to become a corporate lawyer at this company, has a few weeks off before she starts that. And when she hears the story about these children having to basically spend the holidays at this boarding school, like they're going to arrive in the United States and get driven to the boarding school immediately.
Yep.
Her heart is melts, and she says, I will watch these children at least through the holidays. Right?
Yeah.
Just like at least have Christmas at this beautiful house. And the corporation's president, who's also the brother, who's a little bit more of a playboy guy, who had planned like a trip to Aspen with his like bros.
Yeah, he's the like the black. I don't want to say black sheep because like the Hallmark equivalent of black sheep. He's presented as like the non-serious one.
Yeah. And so he sees Jessica and sees how like willing she is to give up her own time and vacation to do this, and he's like, I'll pitch in. And so the two of them, while the CEO of the company is away, proceed to like vomit Christmas on these children. They do cookies. They do every 5 minutes. There's an activity. There's like making edible ornaments for the trees outside. There's lighting the trees outside. There's making hot cocoa. There's going to the Christmas fair. There's doing Christmas cookies, and we all do it in the same like first day.
And of course, at the Christmas fair, we have the roasted chestnut stand, which
Will's now watching.
I am now watching for in every single movie. I also realized something in the midst of all of this. We're just throwing years and years of missed experiences at these children. Like there are several montages of wholesome family fun with like Christmas cookies being made.
Yeah, there's puzzles.
I also and then I also realized we were talking about the lesbian side characters. They're in this movie. They're not in.
Oops.
They're not in the Christmas sweater.
That's
one.
what we get for podcasting back to back without a break, and we will do better by you listeners. And we will watch a movie and then podcast, and watch a movie and then podcast. So this doesn't happen again.
But if you were amazed by the idea of Hallmark being so woke that we have a lesbian romantic side story, it's in this movie. We've got a surgeon who has a crush from afar on a bakery owner, and she cannot bring
Who's
herself.
friends with Jessica, right? Like that's how they know each other.
The redhead and Jessica are friends,
Right.
and they go. I'm guessing they know this cafe because they get hot chocolate at it, and there's again.
Yeah, we
I'm
don't
gonna
drink
say-
coffee in Hallmark. We only drink hot cocoa.
I'm going to say an intense amount of hot chocolate, although in this we have different flavor options. We have like a salted caramel hot chocolate. You could get a peppermint hot chocolate. There's all of your holiday add-ons that you would want are present. And there's also and I think this is another fun activity that becomes a through line through the rest of the movie is during this scene where half the crew is getting hot chocolate, the kids and Jessica, and then our lead Max and one of the kids go and get a puzzle while reminiscing about their deceased father. And
as brings joy.
yeah, because if you're when you think about group activities, and I feel some of you might relate to this, especially in the pandemic year of 2020. Puzzles are a fun group activity. Although with Chelsea and I, we've tried to do I think
We've
3
yet to
puzzles.
finish a puzzle.
Yet to finish one. What happens is we start the puzzle.
And then we get hungry, guys. That's basically what happens.
Then we get
order
hungry.
takeout,
And
and
then
then the takeout's like on top of the puzzle, and then the puzzle gets sticky.
and then eventually
3 months go by, and
then
we're like,
eventually-
should we put away the puzzle? And Will's like, no, but we started the puzzle, and I let it go one more week, and I'm like, the puzzle's going away. Goodbye, puzzle. It's sticky.
I don't know if the puzzle gets sticky,
The
but
puzzle
I know
gets sticky.
but there we have again, given on how quickly Pfizer gets that vaccine going, we might have even more time to do puzzles.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long winter, guys.
Yeah, wear a mask.
But anyway, it turns out that our Playboy is a do-gooder, and every Christmas he purchases like all the puzzles to send to a local, I guess, shelter. It's unclear.
Yeah, so basically
Boys and Girls Club.
He makes a charitable donation for kids who are in need at the holidays, and not only that, but our redhead lesbian best friend knows Max because he volunteers at the hospital. Oh my gosh, guys, are you volunteering at a hospital
during COVID?
I bet you.
I bet you aren't.
And then we also learn, because there's a big business partnership is on the table at holidays, because of course we need to have an important career business related situation. So we have Jessica about to become a corporate lawyer. We have the Darling Corporation about to
open business in Taiwan.
Yes. And we think, and we know when we first meet Max, he's like got to cancel his ski trip. It's like, oh, bummer. Do you think he's like the
bro,
the knucklehead, like fuck up?
But he's not.
But he's not. He's got secret business acumen that no one knows about.
Superhero? I'm super business acumen superhero.
Exactly. Like he's like someone who's just dressed like they should be, like playing hacky sack somewhere. He comes in and he knows a lot of like business.
And so
terms.
As is the case,
he knows the market.
Every single Hallmark movie, there's a party planned for said business acquaintance that they plan to make business with. And Jessica
we make business.
Yeah, Jessica, being an awesome administrative assistant but also lawyer, actually reads the guy's profile and finds out that he's a family man.
He's very family oriented.
And so they move the party, which is normally at some fancy hotel event venue, to the Darlings' home. The children help. They make it joyous and really about like family and holiday time. And so when
very cheerful,
when
very
the Taiwan
cozy
businessman comes, he talks to Max, and Max is like, I don't remember the place, but it's like somewhere you can see the Northern Lights and there's like a snow festival. And he's like, oh my God, I love that too. I was going to bring my daughter there. And he's like, well, I could bring my niece and we could all have joy in this travel thing. So they really hit it off. But his brother, who doesn't trust him and doesn't think he has any business acumen, as business acumen superheroes don't, because like by day they're stupid and then by night they're anyway. But you get the idea.
Exactly.
So he swoops in and is like, "Let me handle this." And so of course he tries to, but then Mr. Lee is like, "No, I liked your brother." And so
which got to sting a little bit.
Yeah, he loves the party, he loves the children, whatever. So they decide that Max is going to go off to Taiwan. And I want to like break here quickly, but I do want to just like wrap up the plot to talk about Taiwan and spend the last like 15 minutes of this podcast only talking about Taiwan. But as he's departing to go to Taiwan, he's leaving them on Christmas. Jessica negotiates that the children can live at the house and
go to a school nearby.
And go to a local school nearby instead of the boarding school. And the father's like, "Fine, if you help." And she's like, "It's 2020. I can do it all." Which, ladies, you can't do it all, but you need help to do it all.
And like, you know what else she does? She decides to follow her passion and go into family law and not be a corporate lawyer, because that's where her heart lies.
Right.
In practicing a different kind of law, which I kind of makes sense to me from a non
keeping families together. If you show a passion for like orphans and things, she was an orphan herself.
So she wants to help her fellow orphans. And most immediately
keeping families together.
And most immediately these 3 orphans who she's grown to love so much.
Right. And so Max is sitting in the waiting room at the airport to go off to Taiwan the day before Christmas and is like, "Screw that. Mr. Lee is family oriented. I'm going to come home and I'm going to tell my brother, first I'm going to tell Jessica I love her, and B, I'm going to also help watch these children, and C, I'm going to tell him Mr. Lee likes family, so I can go after the holidays." And so that's what he does. So now we'll spend the rest of the podcast talking about Taiwan instead.
But
you thought you were listening to Hallmark podcast. You're not.
Do we need to review and wrap this up before we move into the Taiwan section of the show, which I'm all in favor of, because I will say, a charming ensemble cast, really emphasizes the warmth and joy that comes from togetherness and having, like, even if it's not a blood related family, the family that you make, even though it sort of is, but Jessica isn't. And then again we have our lesbian B story best friend, so she gets together with the cafe owner, which is awesome. So I'm gonna say probably another solid 3.75 from me, based on the strength of the ensemble cast and how much Taiwan factors into it.
I would agree with that. I don't think it quite broaches 4 for me, like Man in the Christmas Sweater, or 4.5 like Jingle Bell Bride. I think 3.75 makes sense, mostly because the set is really just the house, and there's like one Christmas fair, and so we spent more money on people than places in this one. Which was nice. Like, I was glad there was lots of characters. The kids are super sweet and adorable. There's a housekeeper who's just a sweetheart of a woman who makes their dead mother's childhood toffee. I enjoyed all of those elements, and the fact that we talked about Taiwan, because folks, who talks about Taiwan?
Taiwan is a undiscussed, and I'll say, as a travel destination, the before times, a vastly overlooked place to visit. The only coverage that Taiwan got, I can remember, in the last 4 years is that there was a goof at the beginning of the soon-to-be previous administration's beginnings.
But I don't want to call it a goof, guys, because I think this is our opener to talk about the one China idea.
Yes,
I think that Taiwan should be its own autonomous nation. I do not believe in one China. Frankly, I think the same of Hong Kong, which is a different situation than Taiwan was in and is in. But Taiwan is let's step back. Its history is sorted between the Japanese and the Chinese. And
it's just
what I love about Taipei, which is their capital city, is like the perfect juxtaposition of both cultures against each other. It's like all the things I love about China and all the things I love about Japan in one beautiful city.
Yeah, Taipei is pretty spectacular. And like Chelsea said, and I'll also say, like, not a very expensive city either, especially compared to like to Tokyo, like a super modern place.
Yeah, or Beijing, like even in China. But I think, Taiwan has a long history and it has survived a lot of a war torn era in the country, and it has
Mm-hmm.
come out the best of literally all worlds and all things unique to Taiwan as well. And so I think
Mm-hmm.
it is not part of one China, it is its own country. And on this podcast, free and clear, I want to make my opinions on that known. I can't
Uh,
speak for my husband.
I
But
mean, I agree that I am generally in favor of any nation that is striving for independence. That's
yeah, I mean, very early on in our relationship, I dragged Will with me to Panama. And when you go to the Panama Canal, they make you watch this video where they say no less than 3 to 4 times that Panama is an autonomous nation
nation
capable
capable
of
of
managing the
managing
canal all by itself.
and its own infrastructure because Panama, another country where America's footprint is a little bit too
Sure.
heavy.
But what's interesting about this is historically, the United States and Taiwan have had a very, very close relationship, very close trading relationship. And in
Yes.
fact, on our somewhat recent trip to Taiwan, I jokingly said, I need something that says made in Taiwan. But of course, a lot of stuff in the United States is made in
Is
Taiwan.
made in Taiwan. We might also want to let everybody know that we got engaged in Taipei.
We
So
did.
there's
So,
also
yeah.
a very I will always love Taipei for many reasons, but it will always hold a place in my heart as one of the greatest cities of this world.
Yeah, and
For
we
that
went
reason.
there for my 30th birthday 2 years ago because of an REM song where they talk about Taipei, and it's beautiful. And
What REM song?
I can't remember the name of it. They're like, I see the day when a new. I'll find the song for our listeners, but Taipei is listed in this song. But it's just sounded so foreign, and I don't mean that in the like traditional like the othering, but I mean like foreign as in like exotic and exciting in this place that so
Completely
few
different
people,
from your experience.
yeah, that so few people get to go to. And I think that's why I've always been in love with much of Asia, is that it is so uniquely different, really, than anywhere else you can go in the whole world and feel like you're someplace else entirely.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. As a simple country bumpkin who didn't leave the country until he was I don't know 23,
Whoa.
and then didn't get to Asia until I started dating Chelsea when I was 20, maybe like 29 or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, I would absolutely I would absolutely agree with that. Like very much the only other places I mean Dubai felt like no place I'd ever really been before,
Sure, sure.
But Asia specifically feels very different from the places I've lived in the way I live, and I dig that
And I
about
think
it.
what was so awesome about Taipei too is I think in a lot of Asian countries you sort of land and you are immediately subsumed by the culture. It's
Yes.
loud, it's fragrant. There's like beautiful smells from night markets and outdoor cooking, and you're sort of like I'm trying to think. There's a couple of movies where like that portray this really well, but it's like you
I'll
land and
say
there's like it's like noise and color and vibrancy, and like you're immediately like
you're just kind of in it, and
and that's definitely true of Thailand. We've been to Thailand twice now, and you feel that way.
I think Japan is Japan's definitely another place like that. Like if you've never,
Yep.
and I would say maybe especially if you're not from a major city, Tokyo definitely blows your mind. But even if you're from like a city like New York, Tokyo is just, I think, it is both light years past where we are, but also it still maintains a lot of its history too.
Yeah, and it's like ancient, beautiful architecture and culture.
Oh,
Um,
it's spectacular.
but
And
Taipei, you show up, and it's like adorable from the get. First
mhm,
of all, and like calm. Everything there is calm.
super
Nothing
calm.
is super hurried or rushed. It's like you've landed. They're incredibly welcoming people. I'm going to venture a guess that American or Western tourists are few and far between.
Oh yeah.
People come up to you and are like, do you know where you're going? Are you lost? Do you have any questions? And like the vending machines are chill and the token booth clerks are chill. Like everything is just
Mhm.
like calm.
I would agree with that 100%. Like lots of other countries I think have really figured out like living
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
compared to America.
Yeah, Taipei
Like
is one of those places for sure.
100%. And I'm very vocal about my love of the Tokyo subway.
Hmm.
I'm gonna put Taipei's subway right up there.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and they have different music at each station,
Yeah, it plays a little
like a
plays
waiting sound.
plays a little song, and there's definitely, based on documentaries I've seen about Japan, I know that there is a musician who has thought very hard about what each station should sound like, and there's a
Hmm.
very pleasant melody that plays when the trains arrive. I can't remember. I know Hong Kong had this. I can't remember if Taipei did, but there's glass
Hmm.
walls
There's
up
glass
so that
walls,
you can't throw stuff onto the tracks.
and you can't fall in.
You can't jump onto the tracks. Yeah,
or be pushed in, as is wont the case in New York.
yeah. It's pretty amazing, and the food culture in Taiwan is spectacular
Amazing.
because, like you were saying, it's this amazing blend of Chinese cuisine and Japanese cuisine.
And like a little bit of like Singapore and Thailand in its night marketness.
Oh my God, the night markets in Taipei, maybe my favorite night market
Worth
experience.
the trip.
I think about that oyster omelet that I got pretty frequently.
Yeah.
In the rain.
I think about the corn dog that we got that was like really good and had cheese in it. Do you remember the cheese corn dog?
I do. I remember because we went to that because there's not just one night market. There's a bunch on different days, different parts of the city. And I remember we had just gotten engaged. We had come down from the top of Elephant Mountain and showered, and you were like, and you were like, I really want to go to this night market. And I was like, yes. And we're like, I know there's a reason I married you. I want to marry you. Just to toot my own horn a little bit, but yes. So what you're describing, I can't remember what the name of the stall is, but it's basically
It was like Crazy Dogs or something.
yeah, and it's basically a corn dog on steroids. It's like a hot dog dipped in like a thick pancake batter almost.
Yeah, it's sweet
and then
and crunchy, and there's like cornflakes on the outside, and there's cheese in there too.
yeah, and then they put ketchup, and mustard and sprinkle it, and the whole thing sprinkled with sugar. It sounds like it wouldn't be good.
It's amazing,
but it's incredible. And I also had a giant grilled octopus.
Yeah, and I had mushrooms.
Tentacle.
The giant grilled mushrooms.
Oh yeah, I remember
which
those.
are inappropriate when you get them on a stick, but are fun to eat regardless.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. That was one of the most.
But all that's to
popular
say is like
stands.
I definitely walked away from Taipei with that sense of like family is important to this culture, and spending time with your family is, and so it's like work stops at 5:30, and families come out and they spend the evening strolling through these night markets eating dinner. Like that's how dinner is had in Taipei for the most part. It rains there a lot, which I don't love about it, but I think you get used to it after a while. But it's just, and it creates this mist over the island, and it's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I would love to see like rural. I would love to go back and see like rural Taiwan, because we did take the funicular up to that kind of like town in the mountains.
Yeah,
but
the tea town.
Yeah, but we were kind of
It was cold and
inadequately
rainy.
dressed for the day.
Yeah.
And then also, the best dumplings maybe we've ever had were in Taipei as well.
Din Tai Fung, which is the home of the soup dumpling. And we also enjoyed a delicacy actually out of Singapore called Hokkien Chan, which is like roast meats over rice or noodles, which are delicious.
Yeah, and this guy Hawker Chan is legendary. I think he was the first. He was one of the early on like food stall
to get a Michelin star.
Yeah, because Michelin star establishments usually think of like Gordon Ramsay restaurants, like very like fine dining, like places where you got to wear a suit. You don't think of like street vendor kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Hawker Chan's like soy chicken and lacquered pork is life-changingly delicious. That Michelin just had to recognize.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a guy. Hawker Chan did a guest dinner in New York City, and tickets were like $400 a plate.
Yeah. Meanwhile, a plate of food from Hokkien Chan was what, like $3.50?
Yeah, and it was so good. We went back. Like the number of times in Asia that we have ordered a plate of something, and then I've gone back and ordered it again,
just so we can have double portions.
and then had had the like moment with the person behind the counter is I'm gonna say numerous times that's happened.
Numerous times. Or like we've had plans to eat elsewhere for dinner, and we're like, but that pork, oh that pork, we gotta go get the pork.
Gotta
You know?
get that. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And you
But-
introduced me to the joys of roasted pork.
Of roast meats, really.
Yeah,
As a genre. But if I'm going to land this podcast plane and get back, Taipei's sense of family and belonging and love of culture and country, I think is really what you see in the Darlings movie. And
you do.
I think
you really do.
I think that Max's decision to spend the holidays with his family certainly will not be frowned upon. We never get to that point of like making sure, but it sounds that way.
I'm going to play out how that scene goes. You're going to be Max, and I'm going to be Mr. Lee. Now, call Mr. Lee.
Mr. Lee. I had to return home, and I cannot come to you because I must spend Christmas with these adorable nieces and nephews. But I can't wait to meet you in Hagenschwagen to see the Northern Lights with my nieces, and it will be grand. And we'll put this business venture on delay.
I understand completely. I will see you in January.
That's such a foreign concept, guys.
I know.
For example, tomorrow is technically a day off at work, and I already have like a to-do list that's a mile long.
And I find that
because American culture, right?
Yeah, and well, to quote the president-elect, I find that to be malarkey.
Oh, malarkey!
Yeah,
wow.
I'm very much looking forward to malarkey becoming part of the vernacular.
I'm actually excited. So fun fact, guys, my favorite president of all time is Gerald Ford. Not for his policies by any, let me be clear. I have far better, I'm a Clinton girl. But Gerald Ford fell down a lot, like excessively. And had he been president during the era of like cell phones and social media, oh man, that guy would have been on like all the time. And as we know, our dear President-elect Joseph R. Biden, also has had a gaffe or two in his time. And not that I think he'll have them as much as president. I think he actually is a very serious, human who is taking the coronavirus and so many other problems that we have, economic and infrastructure related, and will be an excellent commander in chief. Certainly anyone would.
I've watched several of his press conferences and have like instantly felt at ease,
calmed by him. But that said, I am, I guess, secretly hoping that there's a few gaffes, or at least like, even if it's faked gaffes, just to show the humanity of him. And both Kamala Harris as vice president, I think Americans want someone that they can really relate to in the White House. And whether it's dancing like Kamala does, or falling down like Gerald Ford did, or banging into, no, I'm kidding. You want that. And I think the Biden family will present that to the American people, and so will the Harris family. And Will's most excited about what we're really going to get in the White House is not children this time, but
dogs. We have dogs in the White House again.
2 White House puppies, 2 first puppies.
Including the first rescue dog in the White House.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. So are they both first puppy, or are they like first and second puppy?
I think you call them both Dotus, dog of the United States.
Dotus?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love it. Do you think we can get a parrot of the United States and call it POTUS? Oh, wait. We already have that in the White House.
But a boom. Hot takes.
Hot takes
oh, man,
from Chelsea Connor.
This is, I feel like, this is probably like, I feel like this is the best episode so far. Like
mostly because we didn't talk about the Hallmark.
I mean, we've tied our own life experiences into the movies, and I think, I feel like there's a lot to enjoy in Christmas with the Darlings, and folks, start researching Taiwan. It's a wonderful place, and I think even if you can only look at pictures and read books right now, you should definitely do that, because it's good to hope for things and to plan. And having plans is exciting. It gives you something to look forward to, which is something, a new feeling nationally that I have had for the first time in a long time. And I'm definitely excited about what's coming next, where Chelsea and I will travel when we're able to again, and definitely excited about the premieres that'll be coming up this next weekend, which we might be going international for one.
Yes, there is the amazing Christmas in Vienna, which I'll be honest, I'm not too excited about, but I'm going to let it happen and see. And then we have a timeless Christmas, which
Ooh.
I'm going to sense both of these seem, I guess, like in a given weekend of premieres, there seems to be one that's like more edgy and one that's more classic. And I'm going to say
Mm-hmm.
that a timeless Christmas is a little more timeless. Get it?
Hey.
Get it? In a timeless Christmas, this one actually will be a time traveling one, literally.
Ooh, sci-fi. Fancy.
Where Charles Whitley travels from 1903 to 2020, where he meets Megan Turner, not the actress, or not the swimsuit model. Swimsuit model.
I don't know.
That's Megan Trainor, who's the singer. Anyway, and they get a tour and they experience a 21st century Christmas. Christmas in Vienna, shocker. A concert violinist whose heart just isn't in it anymore goes to Vienna. I feel like we saw this already and I'm not interested. But I'm going to give it a chance because the lead woman was from the TV show Everwood on the WB, which I loved.
Interesting.
And her name was April in that. And she was the friend. And so I'm excited to see her in a leading role because she was sort of meek in that TV show, but I loved it. So exciting stuff to come. Follow us on all the social medias and continue listening and tell us what you like because we don't really know unless you tell us. So
yeah, definitely reach out to us. I'm on Twitter at Comic Will Carry. Chelsea's at Chelsea Connor.
Because I'm boring and I also have like one of the first Twitter accounts.
Yeah, you were on you were quick to the Twitter. And,
yeah, I'm like the 10th account I think ever actually.
that's amazing. So follow us on all the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can listen to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify. And thank you guys for being here. And I hope you're doing well. And
stay safe, mask up.
Exactly. Stay safe, mask up. And now let's outro this by singing the theme song, and then I'll put it in later.
Okay. La 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 la. A dunga 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 dunga. Wow. Bye.
Bye, everybody.